Resistance above at 38, 46, 53, 65, 74. Support below at 18.05, 42.97, 87, and 79. Pivot 25, support 18.05, 42.97, 87, 79. Resistance on the upside at 38, 46, 53, 65, and 74. Welcome to some of the new folks that are here. We are trading mini S&Ps, looking for opportunities to scalp the market based on the levels that we gave out, in addition to price action opportunities that might occur. We are looking to take, we're scalping the market with the volatility these days, with everything that's going on. We're probably looking at 4 or 5 points with our stops and profit targets. That's what we're kind of targeting. And those are the levels, and those are the opportunities that we're going to be looking for. With these levels that we have, we call them inflection points. So we think the market will give us an opportunity to scalp the market. We're not looking for any home runs. We're not looking for opportunities where we can look to make 10, 12 points, but those opportunities do occur based on the price activity and price action. And any given day, every day is different. As you can imagine, there's not one day the same, as there isn't a set of traders that trade the same way. Everybody trades in their own distinct way and has their own risk tolerances, and everybody has to understand that if we're going to be trading. As we quickly come down here to the 18 area, again, keep your stops in place no matter how you are trading and what your goals are. Whatever many contracts you trade, everybody trades differently. Like I said, everybody has different risk tolerances, and you have to trade them accordingly. Again, keep your stops in place no matter what. So we're very fluid these days, obviously, with the concern about the happenings in Russia with the Ukraine situation. That is a very fluid situation that the market's going to be reacting to. No matter how you slice it and what you think about it, they are definitely going to be a force that's going to be moving in markets intraday as well. I mean, there's going to be news that comes out that we're not going to be privy to, and it's going to create some volatility. And we have to make sure that we trade it accordingly and keep your stops in place. And so that way we don't get caught up with anything that's going to surprise us, so to speak. And that's what we have to do here on an everyday basis, because especially when volatility gets thrown into the market. I mean, this is what's going on right now, and this is why we suggest 4 or 5 points on our trades here, because there's going to be that much slippage that's going to occur. But again, there's always going to be volatility that occurs in the market that we have to be concerned about, and that's the adjustment that we have to make as a trader. All right, just keep your stops in place and let the market kind of do its thing. We just never know which way it's going to go. The next support level we have is down at 05. I mean, the market's reacting. A nice recovery here overnight. And again, very light trade overnight, as you can imagine. There's not much going on overnight, and there's very light volume in sales. But they've traded close to 1 million contracts, so they are definitely trading a lot. Okay, if you look at the chat box here, you will find the levels that we have imprinted there for you. And those are the levels we can use as a guide to the day. All right, we can add to them, subtract from them, tweak them a little bit. And again, nothing's etched in stone here as you're trading. Everybody knows that, right? And we got to make sure you keep your stops in place, because there's definitely some added volatility that's been injected into the market because of the circumstances with what is happening in Russia and Ukraine there. Market's definitely reacting to it. We never know which way it's going to go. We never know what happened overnight. You have all these unknowns that are occurring in the market. It's going to create some volatility that we have to incorporate. The VIX is up to a 30 handle, which is extremely high here. But it is what it is. And we have to adjust as a trader, as an independent trader, as you're looking at your ladder ticket, you have to understand the risk that's happening and play it accordingly. So we got probably stopped out of our first level there at the 18 area. They did go down to 9. And now we're just going to see what it wants to do up here. We've got resistance around 25 to 30 area there. That'll be our pivot and a little bit above if you're looking for being aggressive, or wait for the first level on the upside there at 38. Again, you got to sometimes, even though the markets are clicking around, trading very quick, you just got to be patient and wait for the opportunities. That's all we can do as traders. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat box area. And if you look at those of you who have been here, if you look at the chat box, you'll see the levels that we are using for as our guide to the day. Those are the levels that we're going to be focused in on. Again, the volatility that's been infused in the market, mainly due to the happenings in Russia and the Ukraine. That is what is going on here, creating extreme volatility of 30 VIX. Oil back up close to 100, if I'm not mistaken. Russia's standoff with the West continues to intensify as Vladimir Putin announced he would recognize 2 self-proclaimed separatist republics in eastern Ukraine. The Russian president also went on to sign aid and cooperation pacts with regional leaders in Donetsk and Luhansk. Excuse me, I can't read those names, which include the right to build military bases. At a televised Kremlin ceremony that was condemned by the United States and the EU. I consider it necessary to take the long overdue decision to recognize independence and sovereignty. Ukraine for us is not just a neighboring country, it is an integral part of our own history, cultural, and spiritual space. Some sanctions were announced and unveiled by the United States and its allies as Putin had planned to send in peacekeeping forces. At least that's what he called them, and through Moscow has continued to deny plans of invasion. Ukraine said it will also stick to its peaceful path. As the president there emphasized, Putin merely legalized troops already present in self-proclaimed republics since 2014. We've dedicated to diplomatic means of solving this issue, said the Ukrainian president. The market is kind of gyrating down here. We're looking at the next support level we have is down at the 5 area. Nice rally here once Europe opened up, as you can see. Market rotated back to the even area, believe it or not. They're kind of above even. So very, very volatile here, and we have to take that in consideration when you're trading. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask put it in the chat box. I have that window up. I can answer them for you. Whatever questions you may have. The U.S. markets were closed on President's Day on Monday, but intensifying tensions between West and Russia was in full display across the globe. Russia's benchmark stock index MOEX plunged 10.5% for its largest daily percentage decline since the invasion of Crimea in 2014, while the pan-continental stocks, European 600, slid 1.3%. Jitters were also showing up in America, with futures contracts tied to the S&P 500 slipping 1.3%, and the Nasdaq going back 2.2%. As the market continues to bounce off here, coming off those lows there, here to our pivot area. Resistance up here if you're a little aggressive, otherwise just wait for the 38 area. They get caught one way and then the market gets very nervous and starts rotating back. This is what happens. And especially with the light volume, you're going to get exaggerated moves no matter what. So next level of resistance we have is up here at the 38 area. Of course, you'd say that. Nice rotation there off of our blue band area. It's one of our trades that we like to look at. A nice pop off of that level. Again, there's you gotta keep your stops in place if you're going to take these price action opportunities. And again, the volatility is there, so you gotta take that into consideration. Market very, very slippery over here. That's an understatement. Both ways, on the upside, downside. Just pick your spots, be patient, wait for the market to get to a level that you feel is important to you, that you know you've seen it work, and you understand the recognition of the trade for the reasons that you have seen them work before. Always are focused in on having reasons to enter into a trade. It doesn't matter if the markets are moving around really fast or slow. You have to find legitimate reasons. The only difference is that your stops have to be expanded a little bit to take into consideration the volatility that's being added to the market at any given point, because those things change. So we're at 5 points right now with our stops on our entry points. And profit targets minimally, at least. And it all depends on how many contracts you trade. Obviously, when there's more volatility, you should lower your number of contracts that you're trading. That way you don't get run over by any one of these opportunities that you feel is important for you to put on a trade. The next level above we have here is up at the 38 area. Bonds, you can see they rallied big time when the news came out yesterday afternoon that Russia was going in, and they have obviously retreated back here a little bit. It was definitely a flight to quality kind of situation going on there. So resistance ends up at the 38 area. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. We are trading mini S&Ps, looking to take opportunities to scalp the market based on the ebbs and flows of it. There's a lot of ebbs and flows these days. So, I mean, right now there is anyway. As we come up here to the 38 area. Let's see if there's any numbers coming out this morning. Not that that's really going to matter that much. There is consumer confidence coming out here at 9 o'clock. So we do have a number coming out here at 9 o'clock that could move the market, including Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. That's also coming out here at 9 o'clock. So a couple numbers that we have to contend with here at 9 o'clock, top of the hour. Market testing this 38 area here now. Coming up here to the settlement price, so we're back to even here. Oh wow, nice little trade there. Very, very pushy little trade coming all the way up here to the 40 or 46 area. Very, very swift little trade. Keep your stops in place no matter how you slice it. Keep telling you that for a reason. Markets getting like this, they get very quick and swift and moving around very fast. You got to make sure your stops are in place so you can take care of the next opportunity. Whoa, it is all over the place there. Big order there at 45. And it took it out. Market trading off of the 46 area. They're very swift little market there. Gotta keep your stops in place. I know it's a little volatile, and if it's too much for you, just wait for the market to kind of subside. And these are very quick little quick little moves here where the market's moving really fast today. Well, at this point, I mean, the volatility, we're looking at 4 or 5 points for sure. But again, the problem is that it's very swift and moving very high. It has its own little mind right now. So if the volatility is too great, it's kind of running through our levels, so just step back and wait for it to settle down a little bit. As again, you're trading off of a long weekend, and we do have a couple numbers coming out here at 9 o'clock in about 7 minutes. So it is very risky right now. Rotations off of our areas, so you have to take that in consideration and just be patient and wait for things to settle down a little bit. All right, so the market continues to rally here. Next level up here is at the 53 area. Okay, again, if it stops, if the market is too swift, just settle it, wait for it to settle down. If it's kind of running through areas, then just stop trading and wait for the market to kind of relax here. The levels would be good overnight. That's true. As we're very one-way trade. Maybe they're thinking it wasn't so bad, and maybe they're thinking it's overdone. I don't know. But we're definitely getting these big rotations here, coming up here, testing the 53 area. And just make sure you keep your stops in place, like I keep saying. And if it's too much for you, just trade smaller. Those are options that we have. We're definitely not getting any kind of rotations from anything. So at least not in this little rotation up here off of that low here. Got a quick, what is that? Almost a 50 point to more than almost a 50 point move here in about 15 minutes. And those are the ones that get us in trouble when we don't get any rotations off of them. All right, getting a little more rotation here off of the 53 area there. Waiting for this rotation here for a while. All the way here to the settlement price. All right, nice little rotation there for our 53 area that got triggered, got up to 56, 7 area, and then a nice little pop back all the way down here. This is where you have to keep your stops in place and then hopefully take a little bit more than 4 or 5 points on your will work, and just have a trailing stop with it. Once it started rotating to the downside, you were able to definitely take more than 4 or 5 points on that trade. Okay, maybe some of you covered them down, covered them at the settlement price. Maybe some of you got long down there. Okay, a little bit of a rotation here off of that. All right, so we got the 53 area got triggered there already. Next level above we have is 65. Right now support would be around the 33 area. A little support. I mean, your scalping knows if we do get down there. And remember, the numbers coming out right now. There's a number that's coming out right now. See a couple numbers. See how the market reacts to those numbers. It's kind of hard to really think that any fundamental news, even though it is a little bit, as you can see, a little bit bearish here on this number. Support level we have is down at 33. Fundamental numbers have not been really fast lately, obviously for many reasons. If we take away the Russia situation and think back, we have inflation situation going on and the rising rates that's adding to the volatility. But definitely Russia's taken over right for this moment. It's supported right now would be around the 33 area. Again, market turning over here a little bit. The numbers maybe weren't as good or reacting to the number. But again, I don't think that the market's going to be really swayed, at least not near term. I mean, obviously, longer term, the numbers are going to mean a lot more. But because of the situation in Ukraine, there, it's going to right now. That's, I think, the overriding factor of the market volatility, at least for today, anyway. Until we'll see what happens over the next every day. It's a fluid situation, like they like to say. I love that. I love that. Obviously, it is, right? All right, we had support down at 33. They didn't get down there. They got down to 36, 37 and change. All right, market continues to be very, very volatile here. Be very careful. Pick your spots very gingerly. Keep your stops in place. Trade smaller as the market is very, very volatile. And has its own mind sometimes, right? I mean, that's really what it does on its own. And yeah, we can only trade what the market gives us or doesn't give us sometimes. Trying to bounce here off of our blue band area there. We had 33, got down to, well, still coming down. Coming down here to the blue band area. Again, no matter what, keep your stops in place. Okay, nice rotation here against our blue band. Again, you're scalping these little price action opportunities that occur. That support down at 33, got down to 33. Right, down to 33 and a quarter there. So hopefully we're able to jump in there and take a little advantage of that trade. And get us a nice quick 4 or 5 points on this trade here. Again, you got to stay patient and wait for opportunities. And obviously, keep your stops in place. All right, nice little trade there against a little support area that we suggested. Again, we're trading mini S&Ps here. As you can see, the volatility is back in the market, quickly moving around all over the place. And some people like the volatility, some people don't. Obviously, it's a lot, scarier, if that's the right word. It's very fluid. Before you know it, you can have a trade on, and you can have a big loss on it. And then next trade, you have a big winner. So it's, if you can handle the ebbs and flows, it's great. If you don't, then just relax and understand that things will settle down at some point, and you'll get your chances to trade a calmer, more relaxed market. It happens all the time. As already you can see here, things have settled down a little bit. They're not running through. Obviously, when you get a 50-point move in about 10-15 minutes, you're going to get some craziness. Well, I mean, he's got his own reasons there, Pat, for doing what he's doing. He doesn't really care what his people say. I mean, if you really think about it, they don't even understand how they can even afford to have a war. Their economy's not that great, but he he doesn't care. And I don't understand the end game for him. I mean, I don't know. So why do you want the whole region that doesn't want you? I mean, I don't know. Well, what can I do? This is beyond. It's a big chess game out there, and it's been way beyond my pay grade to figure out what's going on and why he would want to do something like that. But I mean, we're definitely in a different world right now. It's Salt Lake Resort area. Okay, yeah, it's a big cost to have that resort area. Well, I mean, he's going to create more economic reality there by doing what he's doing, because it's not going to help them too much. It's not going to. I mean, it's not going to help them. They already cut off one of the pipelines to Europe, so I just don't know how. Yeah, I mean, okay, but they did, and it happened a long time ago, and why now? Right? I don't know. Let's see. The uncertainty led investors to seek relative safety in sovereign bonds. They had a big jump yesterday, as you can see, the bond market coming flashing down here after the beginnings of that war yesterday. Right now, as the market continues to downtick, little support. I mean, we went through our levels here on the downside, so I would be very careful if you're going to take any of these levels. I'll probably wait. The 05 looks very tenuous. Probably look around the even to 97 area as our next support level. There are others, obviously, along the way, but a little risky. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if he's weak, but he's doing all he can do. I mean, what are you going to do? Send troops over there? You're not going to send troops over there. I mean, also, Putin's taking advantage of that situation in that sense. But you never know what could happen. I mean, if he really does go all out on the invasion, and Ukraine starts basically shelling them and fighting them, which is a possibility, right? I mean, this is not beyond the realm of possibility that the Ukrainian people are going to stand up for their rights, right? or their country, I should say. So if that happens, he's got a problem. I mean, it's going to be a bigger problem. I don't know. It's going to be a war. I mean, Ukraine's going to be fighting for it. They're for their country. So it's not going to be. He's not going to just walk in. Let's put it that way. And so that's why I don't get the end result here. Because at the end of the day, if he decides to go beyond these two regions that he's uh, talking about, it becomes then it becomes an all-out situation where it's you know it's a problem. It'll be a big war, and then if NATO gets involved, then it's a bigger problem. I don't know. I just don't understand the end game for him. Like I said. I mean, there's going to be weapons wherever there's going to be weapons on all his borders, right? It doesn't matter if it's not Ukraine, it's somebody else. I mean, what's the difference? That logic doesn't make sense to me. I mean, that's just a reason that he's saying, oh, it's going to be. Nobody's planning. Ukraine's not planning on taking over Russia or invading Russia. That logic to me is just way out there. Oh, they're gonna put NATO's putting bombs there. Okay, like who? This is not like in the 50s and the 60s or 40s and the 30s, 1930s where that was an issue. This is everybody knows when you're moving stuff now. You can't move without not knowing. You got satellites all over. You got stuff. It's just doesn't make any sense. He's always going to have a border where there's going to be weapons on the border. Doesn't mean that you go and take over the country. But like I said, I don't understand his end game. So, so he takes over Ukraine. Let's say he does that. It's going to cost him a lot. It's going to cost him. I think it's going to be a war. I mean, Ukraine's not going to be sitting down letting it happen. Yes, I do know Russia's twice the size of the United States. It's huge, but it's also their economy is less than the size of Texas. So they might be twice as big as the United States, but their economy is nowhere close, even with all that oil. Well, that's the theory that you heard. You know that maybe the China guy is XI is working Putin to see how America is going to react. But I think they're two different situations. I'm not picking on Texas. Relax there, Don. They're two different situations. I mean, Ukraine is a totally different situation than Taiwan. So, I mean, I don't think you can compare the two situations. All right, market here trying to hold. Well, definitely held our blue band there at the 33, 34 area. Nice little trade there if you did jump in. And now coming back up here, our next resistance area on the upside is going to be up at the 65 area. Don, let me give you some levels here. I'm not picking on Texas, Don. Relax, man. I'm giving you a compliment. I mean, your economy, your estate probably can handle Russia's stuff. So relax, Don. You're giving you a compliment. It's a little very touchy feely. I brought up Texas and compared it to Russia, and Don's taking it personally. So we have 65, 74, right, on the upside here. Like I said, I don't know which way these markets are going to go. Above that, we've got 82, 90, 44 even, 12, and then 23. So above 74, we've got 82, 90, 44 even, 12, and then 23. All right. That market coming, bouncing, maybe a little bit of range. You can see, even though it's a big overnight range in the last, once Europe opened up, we seem to be in this range here, even though we did spike down there to 09 when we opened up. Kind of tested the bears were testing, and then they got slammed in their face and they rallied at 50 points. Bond market here stays weak, as maybe they're hoping or suggesting their hope that it's kind of in a nice little, this is all he's going to do, and maybe we can move on. I don't know. I don't even know if this is a good thing or not. I have no idea. So let's see here. A limited invasion of Donbas would be a temporary headwind on the risks assets, but we would not view this as a bearish game changer unless it spiraled into a broader conflict between Russia and NATO, said some research guy. In Goldman Sachs' worst case scenario, a 10% decline in the ruble would push the S&P 500 down another 6% compared to Friday's close, which is where we're at. So 6% from here bring us to 2,400, the 4,100 level. That's what this guy from Goldman Sachs thinks. If the worst case scenario, a 10% decline in the ruble would push the S&P 500 down 6% from Friday's close, with several more percentage points of weakness seen in Europe. Deutsche Bank also points out that the typical geopolitical sell-off are usually around 6 to 8% on average, taking 3 weeks for stocks to bottom and another 3 weeks for them to recover. Elsewhere, the energy sector is on watch, with Russia supplying about 40% of the EU's natural gas supplies via the pipeline. Dutch gas futures and European benchmarks surged as much as 13%, while natural gas futures in the United States traded 6% higher. Moscow also is a key oil player, producing roughly 11% of the world's supply, or 10.5 million barrels a day. Sending WTI up to $94 a barrel in response to the developments. We could see prices surpass the $100 barrel mark very quickly, and it even has the upside of $10 a barrel if we start seeing most sanctions being placed on European oil exports. Other commodities also affected, with Russia and Ukraine being a major supplier of metal and grain. Aluminum closed in an all-time high, rising as much as 1.9% in the London Metal Exchange, while Chicago's wheat futures jumped to a near 1-month high as trading resumed after President's Day. Together, Russia and the Ukraine account for a quarter of the global trade in grain, and concerns about the Black Sea shipment disruptions could send soaring food costs even higher. So there you go. gold also caught a bid, 8 months high at 1914. As the market continues to uptick here, looking at the 65 area. Interestingly, though, cryptocurrencies in new age safe haven touted by crypto believers took a hit on the news, suggesting it is still trading in line with the riskiest of assets. At the time of writing, Bitcoin is down 6.6% to 36,000. Whatever. All right, there you have the. There you go. Thanks, Pat. Making Don feel so much happier right now. The real question is, out of that $2 trillion, what is Don's part of it? What percentage is Don's part of it? All right, market, as you can see, is very slippery, moving in 10.5-minute bars, where it's very, very slippery, obviously. So the volatility is still there. Market trying to figure out. As you can see here, I think we're over into this range that we were at. Since Europe opened up. So we have to see what is going to happen here. Definitely holding this settlement price, bouncing off of that here a couple times. All right, we are stuck in a little bit of a range here. Big range, but a little bit of a range. So be careful if you're going to play the range game. Obviously, keep your stops in place. Not my favorite thing to do, but some people like to do it. Market bouncing off of the settlement price area. Again, if you're going to trade the range, just make sure you keep your stops in place. Next level resistance we have is up at the 65 area. So the market is kind of taking this all in, I think, and pretty decently, because last night, once they started where you can see they dropped it all the way down to the 42.50 area. They're 100 points off of that. So kind of dealing with it okay. I think maybe they're just happy that he didn't do a full blown out and invasion, rather just, at least for the time being, did a smaller situation. Yeah, 40. What's it? 43. The settlement price here is at 43.50. Technically, there was, even though we were open yesterday, there was no trade, so they kept, and the volume is a continuation from yesterday's, I think. Yeah, so Fridays. Again, stuck in this little range here. Yeah, made a high there by a couple ticks. Came flying back down. Right, so they're definitely using Friday's settlement price. All right, get very, very choppy right now. Be very, very patient here. You have to be. You never know which way this thing's going. Every time you think it's going to go one way, it reverses, goes the other. If you're going to play the range game, just make sure you keep your stops in place. See, very, very quick moving market here, coming right back down to the settlement price. There it's 43.50. If you jumped in there again, if you did, just keep your stop in place. I'd say below 41, out of any longs there. And getting a nice little rotation here. Nice little quick 3 points there off of that. Man, they disappear fast. And they disappear fast, those 3 points. Whew. Anyway, but they had if you did jump in there, I mean, you got to keep your orders in place. That's the thing, right? I mean, I know it's tricky. I know it's risky. But if you were going to trade it, that's what you had to kind of do. Okay, so here's this guy's explanation for what Russia wants to do. Russia wants to revise the post-Cold War settlement and wants to talk about no more NATO expansion and wants to talk about no more NATO military, structural or institutional presence in the countries like Ukraine. So the director of Russia Studies at Research Analysis Group. The Russian goal is to always have been to impose their will on Ukraine to secure Ukraine's strategic orientation and the like, but without actually having to control the territory or pay for it. Going to reiterate that Russia is not unilaterally giving away the main leverage over Ukraine for nothing, plus getting sanctioned or just introducing troops into occupied territories where it has already kept forces on rotation for 8 years. That's not what this is about, said this guy. If you look at the evolution of this crisis, Putin's grievances, and this position of Russia's forces, it suggested this is a play for Ukraine with Mark maximum aim, whatever that means. Recognition of DNR LNR is just a significant political step in that rapidly unfolding scheme. For Putin, it's not just 30 years of historical wrong, but centuries of injury inflicted on Russia, the Soviet Union, and the Russian Empire, explained Fiona Hill, Senior Director of European and Russian Affairs for National Security Council during the Trump administration. Russia wants to have coercive powers. That is what this is all about. Okay, I guess. All right, let's see here. So right now, numbers are out at 12 o'clock Chicago time. We have a 2-year note auction, which could create some volatility in the financial market. And at 2:30, half an hour before the market closes, there is going to be a Fed speak. So that is going to what might create some volatility here later on. But again, remember, there's overriding situation with Russia, and anything could happen, right? Right now, we're a little range bound. We're here around the settlement price, kind of hanging around here a little bit. Kind of see what is going to happen. Market here bouncing off of that settlement price again. Holding its own. We said anything below 41, you want to be out of any longs, and it did not get down there. So if you are trading the settlement price and you have a stop around the 41, you're doing okay with it. Market seems to be wanting to turn over here a little bit. I don't know. And really, like I said, the next good support we have really doesn't come until, well, we went through our levels below, so it's very risky to, to say that you want to jump in here at any of the levels. Or it's going to stop along the way, but we just never. I don't know. I just don't like anything here. I did like the settlement price there for a little bit. Again, all of these trades all depend on how aggressive you want to be as an individual trader. There's obviously other areas of that the market might jump in on, like our blue band here. If you are very aggressive, I mean, there's some support there at the 25 area. There's support at here our blue band. You got a nice quick rotation off of that. There's also additional support down. Well, we already tried the. We said the next support level we have that wasn't at this, it was 05. But right now, I probably, if you're more risk averse, looking at the even to 97 area is the next good support area that I like. I know it's a long way away, and you are patient. It could stop at any other place, but you'd be guessing, and you'd also need to, obviously, depending on your risk tolerance, which your degree of risk tolerance is, it depends on how much you want to trade. There's also other price action opportunities that are occurring in there as well. We try to limit our trades because the last thing we want to do is overtrade. And that's easy to do today. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Market coming back down here to low end of the range. And it's been a big range, that's for sure. All right, so nice call there, Don. I got 25 also, but see what happens. Well, maybe we'll go retest the lows after that. I don't know. Yeah, that's true there, Don. That's why I said that we're going to look for even to 97. It's the next really good support. All right, again, we come down to that 25 area, like I suggested that we got a little support there, I got down to 25. Didn't even notice that I got nice little rotation here off of that 25 area. Again, you got to pick your spots, understand why they're there. Yeah, they did have a 25 print. I got it. I got put it in at 26. And nice little pop up here. Again, it's just finding these areas that, again, these are risky. Obviously, you got to keep your stops in place, no doubt about it. They are giving you opportunities, though, and giving you a little bit of rotation here. We said that, we just don't know how. They're riskier, and all depends on your risk tolerance and how much risk you're willing to take. But the opportunities are there if you are willing to take them. All right, market continues to down tick here. And down this 25 is acting a little bit stubborn. Again, the next support area that we have, if you're aggressive, would probably be around the '09 area. If 10.9, and if 9.10, 10.9, 9.10, 10.9 if we're going down. Stupid. Otherwise, look for the, well, we have 5, but because it stopped there at the 9, I'd probably look at even the 42.97 area. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. To be a little bit careful here, as the market is be trading off of this Russian situation, no doubt. And now it's getting late at night there, so if there's any military movements, probably will happen at night. I can't imagine that. So you got to be careful if something does occur or they do something crazy. The market's not expecting it. Yeah, well. All right, we are definitely bouncing around here a little bit towards the lows a little, and kind of still a little bit range bound, I think. But just be a little bit careful. We never know what the market's going to do. Uh, Pick your spots. We gave you levels to the down upside more, and then all of a sudden, of course, once I give you the levels to the upside, we're going to crash it back down. But it doesn't matter. So talked about a little support there at 25, which it bounced off of, and now we're just kind of hanging around here. Lower end of that overnight range, the interim range. Never know what it's going to do. But we gave you levels to the downside there. We might be range bound here for a while. That'd be a big range, but we might be range bound here for a while. Resistance right now would be around the 37, 38 area. If we get above 50, I think we rotate to the highs, maybe push a little bit, maybe make new highs. I don't know. But a little resistance around that 35 to 36 area. Some interim support besides the 25 like we had earlier. A little support down around the 910 area. All right, we're very, very choppy here, so be very, very careful. Again, if you're going to have your exit strategies in place, if you're going to want to get short or if you want to be long, either way, just make sure your exit strategy is in place. Right now, if we get above 30, you want to be out of any shorts. Ultimately, if we get above the 50 area there, we could go retest the highs. We gave you the next good support level, and then after that 42.97 area, we got 87.79. Let me give you a couple of levels underneath in case they decide to push down. Below the 79, we've got 68, 60, and then 49. So below 79, we've got 68, 70, 60, 68, 60, and 49. Thank you, Don. There, if you look at the chat box here, you will see those levels, extended levels. We never know which way this market is going to go. Bonds here on the highs a little bit, believe it or not. So, well, interim highs. Kind of keep a little eye out on them. If they start popping, maybe you'll know which way that bonds are going to, S&Ps are going to go. Let's just be a little bit careful here. If you're going to play the range game, make sure you have your exit strategies in place. And we'll give you the levels underneath. Market is very slippery here, kind of trading, so I'm trying to see what's going to happen with the Ukraine situation. As soon as that gets settled, we're going to have to deal with the rising rate situation here and inflation. So that's not going away anytime soon. I will get back here in a little bit.
Hey, a couple quick programming notes and shout outs. Hey, Hugo, how you making out? Scott A, let us know how you're making out. Good, nice group of people sign up today. Appreciate it. If you're looking for the discount for the service, raise your hand and I'll send it out to you. We're coming to the end of our morning session here. TradeAlongLive.com, TradeAlongLive.com. We're here every trading day from 9 a.m. to about 12 noon, with the body of the trading happening between 9:30 and 11:30. We're focused on the S&P 500 E-mini. Saul Schul is your host and mentor for the session. Everything we do is for educational purposes only. Nothing's to be taken as direct trading or investment advice. Stop in if you want to trade along with Saul from an educational point of view. Saul gives out his proprietary levels. We go through the morning session together. He calls them levels and zones. You get to ask questions, interact, trade along with him. And again, if you are interested in having Saul mentor you and train you to be a better trader, then speak up and we can talk about that also. The first thing is to join our friends and family. Friends and family is an opportunity to join us on a daily basis. It is a subscription that you control based on PayPal. That's out to everybody now. Take a moment, sign yourself up. We go through a roll call in the morning to see who's in and who's out, and we want to make sure that everybody is participating here for the right reason and also supporting the cause. So thank you.